Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic, and today we have to talk about the language of SJWs. And so I was originally going to call this the language of the left, but I don't really want to throw anyone that might have a left-leaning ideology or liberal ideology all in the same boat, because as we've mentioned before, an SJW is very, very different than someone who's just liberal. A person who's a liberal, just like someone who's conservative, is someone who has a particular viewpoint of the world, a certain political philosophy. Someone who is an SJW is someone who has a liberal philosophy, but also tries to force it on others and just will simply call someone a racist and a sexist for no good reason whatsoever, just because they feel like they have the high ground, essentially. And it just really is so disheartening, because basically they shut down any real chance of real authentic dialogue, because they just go back to these same talking points without actually engaging with the political philosophy, the political debate, and instead they just try to shut it down by throwing out these words where they have no idea what these words actually mean. Because when you throw out these words, when you throw out these words that do have a true meaning, or at least at least used to have real meaning, talking about racist and sexist, if you just start to throw them around like it's just another basic word to describe any person who has a different political view than you, that's a problem. That is a huge problem, because you basically have just totally destroyed any sense of political discourse or any sense of just having civil discourse with another person. And we have that today on Twitter once again. So obviously there are so many examples of this. You can go to Chuck Wendig's Twitter. I mean, he blocked me, but of course, you can easily make a new account and be able to see his tweets anyway. But he has used this vile language before. Rian Johnson has used this language before. So many people have used this language, and it does nothing. And at the same time, it just is not based in reality at all. So this today, I was getting my watch, because I have a smartwatch, so I was just getting blown up with notifications on Twitter because of this going on today. So this was our good friend Demon Scythe. Please go check him out on Twitter. He is awesome. Every single one of his responses were spot on, and so that's why I wanted to have those up here too. So please go check him out on Twitter. He is freaking amazing. But this is from another person, another SJW, who calls himself Mr. Gay Tatooine 2018, or at David75 Donovan. So if you want to check him out yourself, go right ahead. I am not inviting you like this person seems to think. You'll see when we get further into these tweets. He thinks that people were called to attack him. No, it's that they saw what he said and on their own decided, wait a minute, no, this doesn't make any sense. I want to, engage in a discourse with you. Now, I'm not calling for anyone to attack him. I'm not calling for anyone to troll him or anything to that effect. I am merely just pointing out what the language they use, what it contains, but also just how widespread it has truly become. And also when Demon Scythe comes back with I think, some pretty well-crafted responses, the response that David Donovan seems to put back at him is just ridiculous. So anyway, Mr. Gay Tatooine says, that's okay, your money, and you're perfectly entitled to do that. At what point will complaining about The Last Jedi become tiresome for you, though? What's the mission here? If you're done with Star Wars, I don't get what you hope to achieve by continuing to complain. I feel like this is really the biggest argument they have, is that they think that just because we're critical of The Last Jedi, just because we're critical of Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson, Chuck Wendig, Pablo Hidalgo, that we're sick of Star Wars, but that's just not the case. Almost all of us want Star Wars to succeed. We don't want a movie. We don't want a Star Wars movie to lose $200 million at the box office like Solo is. We don't want a movie to be in the red. We want Star Wars to succeed. We want the TV series to succeed. We want the books to succeed. We want all of these things to do well. The problem is that we don't like the product that's being put out there. So they try and spin this, just being critical of a particular movie or a particular director. In their minds, they say, oh, well, you must hate everything. No, that's not the case. And Demon Scythe comes right back with that same sentiment. He says, I'm done with this sequel trilogy, like all of us are. I can never be done with Star Wars. It's in my DNA. It permeates every fiber of my being, and I've done ever since I saw it at the age of 4 in 1977. I probably won't be over the disappointment of Episode 8 for quite some time, since I love the franchise. And that's exactly it. So many of us feel like this. So many of us are a part of this. We love Star Wars. I'm someone who grew up with the prequels. I'm almost 30 years old, so I grew up. I went to the theaters when the prequels first came out. I remember as a kid, I overall enjoyed them, and as I grew up, I started to realize, wait a minute, these aren't really very good films. But even then, I still love Star Wars, because that made me interested in the original trilogy, because obviously I grew up with that as well, and it was just amazing. I mean, I love the original trilogy so much. Even the prequels, I own all the prequels. I own the entire box set. Why? Because I freaking love Star Wars. I have the specialized editions as well. Why would I go out of my way? Because the process to get those, if anyone's ever gotten them, is very long. It takes a lot of work, but why would I go through that if I hated Star Wars? Why would I I go through that if this wasn't a part of who I am? Like, these people just don't understand it. They just don't understand it. They're the ones that seem to be, again, I'm not calling anyone who disagrees with me right now or anyone that has these similar thoughts not a real fan. I don't like using that kind of language, but they come across that way when they themselves will, call out other people and say, oh, you're done with Star Wars then, or oh, you're not a true fan. It's just like, no, get over yourself. So that, starts off pretty tame, right? Well, then we, of course, get into kind of the meat of it. So basically, Demon Scythe mentions in a previous tweet that I don't have up here, says that, well, obviously our voices are being heard. You have so many YouTube channels now that are talking about this every day, that are getting the message out there and are growing exponentially. And so then Mr. Gay Tatooine comes back by saying, YouTube, all shrieking little boys trapped in men's bodies, spewing in the void, simply for clicks and revenue and income. YouTube is the poison toilets of society. Let's be honest about that. No, not at all. Not at all. For one, just to get on your point here, I'm not paid. I'm not monetized. I don't make anything. I do this not just for clicks, but because I love talking about it. I love talking about movies. I've been doing live streams almost every day for the past 5 days. I get no money from that. I don't have a Patreon page. I don't get super chats, and I don't do it for the money. I'm not trying to get there. If it does happen, obviously I'm not going to turn it down, but that's not the goal of this, and that's not the goal of so many people on YouTube. It's not about the money, it's about the message. It's about the fact that we care so much about this, and if other people care, that's great. And that's why this community is so great, because all of us care about this property. All of us care about Star Wars, and we love seeing it. We love seeing these movies. The problem is that these SJW knuckleheads have taken over and have just ruined it. They've essentially just butchered Star Wars altogether. So no, Mr. Gay Tatooine, it is not that. It is not that. It is not simply people spewing out nonsense just to get clicks. It's people talking about real feelings, real emotions, and also talking about actual facts. Just look at some of my videos, again, not just to prop myself up, but I break down actual box office numbers. I break down actual statistics, as do many other people. So we're not just spouting off nonsense. We're spouting off facts, and we're also spouting off how we feel. And that's pretty much all it is. And to say, oh, basically what he's saying here is another version of man babies, little boys trapped in men's bodies. And that's why Demon Scythe's response here is freaking perfect. So he says, well, that's quite ignorant and dismissive of you. And then he goes and tags in pretty much any YouTuber that he follows, any YouTuber that he knows, and he starts off with two of the best, I think. That's Star Wars Girl and Jessie Milestone. So two female YouTubers who are very passionate about Star Wars, who just don't fit the narrative that Mr. Tatooine was trying to put in there, saying, oh, you're just boys trapped in men's bodies. Really, I didn't know that Anna from That Star Wars Girl was a man, it was a boy trapped in a man's body. I'm pretty sure she's a woman. Same thing with Jessie Milestone. He then goes on to talk about, Ivan, from Ivan Ortega, from Ivan Filfix. Obviously, he didn't mention white here, but that's oftentimes another thing that they put out there is saying, oh, everyone's white. Last time I checked, Ivan Ortega is not white. And then he talks about, Ethan Van Sciver, he gave me a shout. He gave so many people shouts. And he just showed, his point was to show that there's such great diversity in the Star Wars community, not just on YouTube, but pretty much anywhere. And that was the point he was trying to make. And how did Mr. Gay Tatooine respond? Well, obviously we know the direction that he's going here. So obviously I responded back, I gave a response, and then he basically attacked everyone, saying, he attacked Demon Scythe, saying, oh, I see you're just trying to get your buddies to attack me. And if you actually saw that tweet that I just showed you, the context is very clear. No, what he's trying to say is, no, your comment was ignorant, and here's the proof. Look at all of these different channels. He wasn't saying, hey guys, go and attack this person. He never said that at any point. In fact, Demon Scythe got so upset with it, I'm pretty sure that he ended up blocking this guy because he just was so tired of talking to a brick wall, having this guy talk about and just say things that weren't true. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. So when I got in this on this conversation, I just read some of the comments and I thought to myself, I can't deal with this right now, because I was at camp, things were crazy today. So I just basically, I posted saying, you probably just get out of here, man, because you're not listening to what Demon Scythe is saying. He's trying to be honest with you, and no, he's not trying to get people to attack you. He's just trying to show you, no, there is diversity in the Star Wars community, and yes, those people do not like The Last Jedi. Again, that's not everyone, but a very good, very good-sized group, enough to have a tremendous effect, not only on The Last Jedi's numbers, but also now on Solo's numbers as well. But even when I posted this, I posted a GIF from Get Out, and so here is his response from me. He said, you hate representation in Star Wars, but you use a black guy in a GIF. Says it all, really. I didn't realize that I hate representation in Star Wars. I hate forced representation. I hate forced diversity. Again, if someone is good for the job, go ahead and hire that person. I don't care. I mean, that's why I really like Finn's character, because that is a good actor. That is someone who has pretty much paid his dues in the movies that he's done, in the roles that he's chosen, and he's really good. I was actually really excited when they chose him because he's a fantastic actor. So for you to say this is just totally off base, and also it's, again, going away from the truth. It is instead basically implying, oh, well, you're a racist because you hate representation in Star Wars. It's like, no, that's not the case. Actually listen to what we're saying. And then, of course, Demon Scythe comes back once again, and it's just fantastic. So he says, who the hell hates representation in Star Wars? It shouldn't be a damn issue. No one in their right mind cares about it. No one should worry about how many people of a particular race there are on a screen at any time. Ahsoka is a non-human orange female. You think anyone cares? Exactly. Demon Scythe is totally right here. No one cares. Most people, rather, don't care. Because I know some people can say, oh, you say all and you say everybody, but in reality, it's not. Okay, well, it's just use of an expression. It's called hyperbole. You probably learned it in your English class. It's basically just trying to explain that it's a large group of people because, again, everyone in this movement has this opinion. It's not that we're racist. It's not that we just want to see, if someone was saying, I just want to see white people in Star Wars, you would hear no argument from us saying that that person is a racist, because that's a racist comment. But to say I don't like forced diversity, to say I don't like actors getting chosen just because of their race, just because of their sex, I don't like these things being forced in there, that is an entirely different discussion. So for you to cheapen, because that's what you all end up doing, you cheapen the words, you cheapen the word sexist, you cheapen the word racist, and so then when you actually use it with someone who actually, basically spouts those things, that in reality, it loses its meaning. It loses its meaning, and that's sad, because we shouldn't be losing the meanings of these words that are very important by just throwing them around to any person that doesn't agree with you. It's ridiculous. Just because I used the GIF, basically I was just telling him to get out. I was telling him to go away, and so he criticizes me because there happens to be a movie called Get Out, and the GIF happens to be of someone who is African American. Like, I don't care about that. I didn't say, look at this GIF. This GIF has a black guy in it. I want to use. No. That was nowhere in my thought process. It was, oh, this is a really good GIF. This is a really good thing to use for the message I'm trying to say, which is get out of here. Stop spouting your nonsense. And Demon Scythe is just right on the point, hits him right back. And then this is where I feel like the worst comment that Mr. Gay Tatooine says, and that's when he says, you need to look at some of the profiles replying to this thread, the ones you called in. So again, there's the comment saying, oh, you called all these people in. Again, you saw the tweet, you saw the thread, you know that is not the case. You know that he was just trying to show representation in the Star Wars community. Even though he didn't need to, he wanted to educate Mr. Gay Tatooine about this. And what does he say now? He says, they're not big fans of women or gay people or people of color. Basically, that's another way of saying they are racist and they are sexist and they are homophobic. No, we are not. Most of us do not care what you are. We care about the content of your character. We care about who you are as a person. We do not care, again, about the color of your skin, your gender, or anything else. Again, I said this on a previous live stream. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt another person, and I'll pretty much be fine with it as far as politically speaking. But when you are attacking people in this way, falsely, when you are attacking people and calling them a racist and sexist, which, again, do still carry some weight in the world. Again, if someone just came out and accused me of racism or sexism, that could have an effect on me in my job and future employment. So those are not words you should just throw around willy-nilly like that. You shouldn't do it that way. And also, not only should you not do that anyway, but especially when you're totally wrong. You are totally off base. There is nothing here. You obviously did not check any of those groups, any of those people, because there were several women in there. There were several people of color in there, and also, and this is my favorite tweet, this is what I want to end the video with, is the tweet I feel like that really just hits the nail on the head, and that is from Random Game User 42. She is also another great YouTuber. Go check out her channel as well. And here is her comment, and it's right on the nose. It's perfect. She says, yes, me, an openly bi female, made up of more races than you deserve to know. Yep, I'm not a fan of myself. Yeah, sure. I'm kind of done with the gay community as it is, because they tend to assume and attack if you don't have a pride rainbow plastered on your profile. So yes, someone that he just totally ignored exists, because in his mind these people just don't exist. Someone who is not only gay, or someone who's not only part of LGBTQI, however many letters there are now, but someone who is openly bisexual, who is also a female, who is also biracial, is someone who is just not worthy of his time, apparently, because apparently she is a self-hating woman, a self-hating bisexual woman at that, and also someone who hates her own race and her own mixture of races or whatever. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Again, when these people, when these SJWs start coming out, they have no legs to stand on. And I love how, I know that I'm going to get in the comments saying, oh, you're just an alt-right crazy conservative. It's like, no. I'm just someone who's based in reality, who thinks we need to be more careful with the language that we use, and that we need to actually call out people who are racist, who are sexist, and not throw them in the same boat as people who just have a different political opinion than me. That's just not how it works. All right, everybody, thank y'all so much for watching. Did you agree with anything I said? If you did, please smash that like button. Also, hit that subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also share this video as well, because I really do think it's important. I think the language that we use when talking to each other is so crucial, because if we cannot talk to each other about Star Wars, if we cannot talk to each other about things that in the grand scheme of things probably don't really mean a whole lot, then we're in big trouble. So thank y'all so much for listening. Thank y'all so much for being part of this community. Anyone that is a subscriber, I've just hit 700 subscribers. I just also hit 4,000 watch hours, which is just insane to me. So I'm so grateful for everyone that's been a part of this community, that everyone who has supported me, not only on YouTube, but also on Twitter. Y'all are so fantastic. Y'all are so wonderful. I love every single one of you. So thank y'all so much. Have a great day. And as always, God bless.